A2IM, the collective voice of independent music.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's panel, Conversation COVID, Marketing Artists in the New Era. I feel really lucky right now to be part of a panel of strong women marketers from the indie music community. I guess we'll just go ahead and get started here. Maybe some quick introductions. We have Bina from Ultra.
Hi.
Francesca from Partisan.
Hey.
And Jackie from Dangerbird.
Hi.
And I'm Liz from Nettwerk. So let's get started. I wanted to kick things off with some positivity, since we all could use more of that with this all going on in the world right now. And look to what some of the positive developments have been as a result of marketing during the COVID era. Like if each panelist could maybe talk a bit about an artist that's done something interesting or engaging or unique to work with their fans at this point in time and engage them. So let's see. Bina, I know you wanted to talk about Sophie Tucker.
Sure, yeah. So hi, everyone. The dance space in general has really kind of, dived right into connecting with their fans in a very seamless way, given the circumstances. And so, a lot of artists have either kind of been prepped to do live streams because that is an opportunity within our space in general, or dived right in. So you see a lot of artists in the dance space who are doing weekly events, daily events, fun kind of like dance B2B sessions, all type of experiences that fans, of course, would get if they went to go see a show with some of those artists. Of those artists that we work with directly at Ultra Records, of course, is Sophie Tucker. And they really kind of, from day one of announcements of quarantine or shelter at home, started, adjusting to how they're going to connect with their fans. And so they started out by doing Instagram Lives, and they've been doing an Instagram Live for half an hour every day for the past 70 plus days, probably 100 by the time this goes live. But and it's, at first it started out with them in their living room, then slowly but surely their living room became like a luscious jungle, and now fans from all over the world tune in every day to be part of their Instagram Live. But what's really cool is during that time, they also released a single with Gorgon City called House Arrest. And of course, it's very fitting for the time. And they incorporated fan participation in the official video for the single. And so during their daily IG live sets, they got fans to be a part of it by recording them dancing to it, and that being part of the official video. So you have fans in rainbows, spans, glitter, all the type of animal print possible, all being part of their world, their live stream experience, and of course the single that we've released.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, let's see, who's going to go next? Francesca, Laura Marlene.
Yeah, so I have had the fortune of working on the new Laura Marlene record, which we ended up moving up 3 months ahead of schedule to put out in early April. We were really lucky that we had all the creative components for the campaign done by the end of March. So we had music videos and album art and press shots. So it was something that Laura felt with everything ready to go. She felt like she would be holding back from her fans. Especially this record is such a healing and powerful record. So it felt really important for her to get out to her community and as something that might help people. So she is not someone who has typically felt very comfortable with social media, but she ended up finding a way that she could communicate with fans directly and doing these guitar tutorials on Instagram TV. So that was what we did to prep fans for the record. And in leading up to the announcement, she was communicating with fans that way and then announced the record that way. And it's been a really positive campaign.
Oh, that's so great. And so were the guitar tutorials like open to anyone, or were they
Yeah. Yeah, they were open to anyone. And she's now exploring doing paid shows. So that's going to happen next week. She'll be doing 2 shows from Union Chapel in London, which will be ticketed events and much higher quality and behind a paywall. But the guitar lessons are just open to everyone. And it's been really fun to watch her Instagram community grow and fans really connect with her directly.
Oh, that's great. It's an interesting strategy too, because I've noticed a lot of artists instantly moving their albums later when this happened. And, you know, depending on the label and the strategy, some people kept their schedules, and this one coming even earlier, it must have been challenging.
Yeah, I mean, from the decision to put it out to putting it out, I think it was 3 weeks, which is a lot less time than we usually have to set up a record. But we were lucky that we had a lot of the pieces in place, and also it fit with our release schedule. So we were able to be pretty dynamic and put a lot of focus behind it and work really closely with management to get it out in such a short period of time.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. All right. Jackie, I think you were going to talk about Seawolf.
Yes. Seawolf had a record already planned to release. So basically, we just had to evolve and think of ways, okay, if he's not going to start touring in April, what else can we do around the record, much, you know, like the rest of the industry. And sort of like Francesca was saying about Laura Marling, this album is, I think, really timely, and the lyrics sort of just mean not something different, but I think people connected with them in a different way, in a very meaningful way. And the frontman of Seawolf, Alex Brownchurch, felt he's very thoughtful, and he doesn't like to kind of like pull the trigger too soon on things, and likes to really think through them and be methodical. He started doing Facebook performances and also doing Q&As with the whole band, which were really well received by fans. And they stayed really consistent with these, doing them every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. PT. And they were just really awesome. And one thing that Alex had decided to do and moved very quickly on it was basically taking to socials and asking fans to capture their COVID-19 realities. So whatever that looked like, whether it was sad, beautiful, funny, and he got an overwhelming response from fans. And what the team did with the entries was create a really powerful, moving piece, edited them all together to one of the focus tracks from the album. So basically that resulted in us switching our focus track for the albums, the rest of the album cycle, which I think was a great decision. And it wasn't one that we necessarily would have made in a normal reality. So I think it's a beautiful piece of content and just something that anyone around the world can relate to. And he got entries from fans all over. And I think it also was a really great way to connect with new fans, maybe people that haven't heard of him before. So yeah, that definitely has been my favorite one so far.
Oh, that's great. And did you see, because you were using all of the fan video, more engagement on the piece once it went live?
Yes, I would say that we did. And yeah, the response has been really sweet. And I think when fans see that they were selected to be in the video, like that response has been really nice as well.
Yeah, great, cool. And then as my example, I just wanted to talk a bit about Wild Rivers. It's an indie folk pop band that we have out of Toronto that has built a really strong streaming following and also touring following. We had been really excited going into May and June with their EP release because they had many sold out US dates that we had to move again. And now cancel and move to next year. So it kind of threw a wrench in our plans, but they have always been really strong in engaging their fans directly on their social profiles, and the EP has a breakup theme to it, songs to break up to. So they did some interesting breakup themed content that worked really well, asking fans to tell their best breakup stories and, talking through them on their socials using, video content, making it seem like it was live, even though some of it wasn't because the band was holed up in 4 different places. And then another really interesting, long-term thing that they've been doing and able to continue even while in quarantine was a partnership with the Voices of Our City Homeless Choir. It's a choir out of San Diego that's comprised entirely of the homeless population there, and it's really given them an outlet and a face in the community. And so Wild Rivers was donating $1 from every ticket sale to the choir. And even with the tour not having, fully been realized, they went ahead and donated the money to the choir anyways, because they knew in this time that they'd be needing it more than ever. And then they've done some remote Zoom rehearsals with the choir and an actual performance of a song with the choir as well that we're about to roll out. So it's an ongoing relationship and, charity partnership, which is just really positive to see in a time like this where, a lot of artists are themselves, not getting the financial support that they might doing tour dates. So that was our positive marketing light over at Nettwerk happening. Cool. So I guess that maybe segues into the next question. What are you all finding as the challenging aspects of marketing during this climate?
I mean, I'm happy to dive in. I think it's just constantly changing. And, I feel like in the beginning when all of the quarantines were put in place, there was kind of like a jolt, like a shock. And so my personal experience felt like the music industry didn't necessarily know what to do. And then a few days in, everybody started to jump in on live stream experiences, figuring out how they're going to change their release plans, album plans. Some pushed back, some moved up, some had songs that were never going to see the light of day, but now they fit in theme with what people are experiencing. So they came back out. But I think now that the industry has somewhat of a hold on how to move within this space, there's sensory overload, right? I mean, on any given day, from Thursday to Sunday, you go on your Instagram and, there's 30 plus lives going on at the same time. And the Twitch space has become a huge space to watch and experience live streams, same thing. And so now I think there's just so many virtual festivals, concert series, live streams in conjunction with media partners and stuff like that. And so it's figuring out, okay, how to stand out through all of that, right? And how to still get fans engaged when you're competing with multiple other events going on at the same time that, cater to a similar audience.
Yeah, definitely. I think similar to what Bina said, it's just about cutting through the noise now. And when there's so much happening at once, it's really hard to do something new, and sometimes hard for some artists to keep up if they're less comfortable in the digital space. But it's been exciting to watch artists adapt and figure out ways that they feel comfortable with.
I agree. It's sort of been a range for us as well, where some artists jumped right in, started doing tutorials, started doing lives, and felt really comfortable with that and moved quickly on just executing social media without much guidance at all. And others have been more thoughtful and have taken a little more time to get there. And I do agree that it has become oversaturated. So it's figuring out that unique angle or what you as an artist can bring to the table that's different than anyone else. And it's been really cool to see what some bands and artists have come up with.
Yeah, I think on a positive note too is, you know, for the most part, artists, they create their work, they release their work, and they tour with their work. And I think that's, in a way, the extent of the relationship that they have with their artists. Of course, deeper than that, but I think that's like kind of the foundation. And this situation is really like bringing forward for artists how to connect with their fans, right? Okay, well, I've only really kind of like toured and connected with them there and, you know, posted on socials via, you know, what I'm touring or what my music is. But now there's a deeper like sense, a more intimate way to connect with fans, right? Whether it's the guitar tutorials or, you know, Seawolf, like, you know, bringing, you know, some fan, I'm sure those submissions were absolutely beautiful with, you know, fans getting really honest about their experiences through quarantine, whether good or bad. So I think it's really interesting that artists are exploring all of these new ways to connect with their fans, which hopefully will, you know, carry on post quarantine and post COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced the same thing. It's really great to see, you know, many artists who we had hoped all along would be more engaged with their fans now having the time and focus and, you know, probably also need because they're not out doing dates and connecting in other ways, you know, and their social profiles have really flourished because of it, because it's a genuine connection and a really genuine effort to, you know, be in contact with their fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So I guess, like, I wonder, like, we've all talked about how, you know, touring and not having touring has impacted things. In terms of other areas having to change or adapt, you know, marketing budget spends, have you guys noticed different areas where maybe you dedicate your marketing budget?
Definitely. So we've moved a lot of retail marketing spends over to the digital space. So we have bigger digital ad budgets now. And in addition, we're putting more money behind digital content. So not just music videos, but things like Instagram, VR filters, and contests and other things like that that maybe wouldn't be in the budget. There's space for that now. So coming from the digital space, I find that really positive.
Yeah. Are you experiencing the same thing, Jackie, since you're in the digital space?
Yes. We actually had planned to do some out-of-home marketing for Seawolf that we proceeded with because it was in a high traffic area on Sunset in LA. So that still seemed to go really well. But we have been moving more budgets to Facebook, Instagram ads, definitely YouTube, instrument display ads as well have been really valuable at this time. So yes, it's definitely affected in many ways, big and small, our marketing budgets.
Cool. And what about things like club campaigns when clubs aren't happening? Are, you know, at Ultra, are you guys spending on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just shifting. So, you know, I mean, a lot of campaigns are still happening, for example, with online radio and radio in general. And, you know, there really hasn't been a negative shift. You know, things are moving forward. And, you know, we have artist campaigns that are all have like dance radio campaigns going or, you know, general radio campaigns. And then, you know, I think the same thing, there's like a shift, right? So a lot of the type of DJ servicing and promotion that you would expect for them to play out, they're just playing online. And so we carry on with all of our like servicing efforts to get everybody the music. So we just like shifted around, but we're still doing that. And same thing, like Jackie said, you know, a lot of the focus, of course, is putting a lot of attention on socials where people are connected the most.
Great. And what about, you know, college radio with a lot of colleges going virtual? Are you noticing any differences in how your label's approaching that?
I think college kids are getting super creative. I'm not sure if you saw the Blockley Music Festival. I believe it's with Berkeley College, but they did it like with a video game, and they got like 50 plus musicians involved with it, and did it in 2 weeks, made up of 100 volunteers, like school volunteers. So I think kids are getting creative in terms of how their like last semester is rolling out, and how they can celebrate their graduation.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Are you guys noticing anything at your labels, Francesca or Jackie, in terms of like other ways that it's changing, like on the college front or club, or even PR campaigns, if they've taken a different angle?
I would say with our college reps, they kind of had to scramble quickly to change the ways that they're normally driving back to our artists and campaigns. And I was really just impressed to see the way that they just moved quickly to either take things that maybe had been events planned on campus online and different things like that. And so, yeah, that's been really cool to see. And additionally, particularly for Seawolf, we took that to college, and Seawolf was able to create a video to thank the college reps, which I thought was really, really cool as well, and something that maybe wouldn't normally happen.
Yeah, oh, that's great. All right. Then, I know there's been a lot of discussion in the industry about live streams, and of course, a huge volume of them right now. But what's your take on using live streams as a marketing opportunity?
So I mentioned this before in the beginning of the panel, but in the dance space, it's actually always been integrated into marketing efforts. So there's a lot of like publications that have always done live streams, such as Boiler Room, Mix Mag, DJ Mag, and Mag and publications as such. And they've all continued to flourish, and generally what they do is they have an in-person event and then live stream it online, but they've been able to quickly adapt to doing their events from artists' homes and still be able to. So I think, this is something that in certain spaces has already been a relevant tool for marketing, but of course has amplified during COVID. And I think will continue to do so, and it's really interesting to see, like, outside of the music space too, how people are connecting globally through live streams, through Zoom chats, calls, dance classes, yoga classes, whatever it may be, and how that's going to shift the way people, market themselves or, connect with fans in whatever capacity. So, I think once everything is lifted, for sure, there's going to be a break from live streams, but, I think moving forward, these are going to be tools that artists and labels and agents are going to, integrate into their campaigns significantly more than they had done so in the past.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just the reach of these live streams is pretty incredible. And especially if you can bring people onto artist-owned platforms like YouTube and then grow those audiences there, it will be super helpful down the line. And then you have control over what links you're sharing and can push to the record from the live stream. I've noticed some of the other live stream sites like Noon Chorus are finding ways to incorporate products onto the artist pages. So I think also in the near future, or I'm sure artists are doing this already, but the ability to ticket bundle with live streams for pre-orders. And like Bina said, I think this is something that will probably last in the future once touring returns and when people are able to do real shows, just because it's a totally different way to reach people. And I think it sort of serves a different purpose than touring.
Definitely.
How do you guys balance which platforms you do the live streams on with artists?
We usually look at where their biggest following is. Now, I think we've basically done like a couple tests where we try YouTube Live for one stream, or we'll try Facebook or Instagram Live. And I do think that we have seen the best results from where the artist already has the largest following. But we've also used it as an opportunity to try and move some of their fans, let's say from Facebook to Instagram, or from Instagram to YouTube Live. And so that's been really cool. And we've also had the opportunity to partner with brands. So we had one band called Sloth Rust that was able to, they just did on their own, were doing guitar tutorials, and Fender took notice. So that's something where they already were in talks with Fender, but I think it really like just hit that into kind of fast motion, where even a week, I think it was maybe 2 weeks into quarantine, they were able to partner with Fender and do some tutorials on their Instagram. And so we've been able to do things that we wouldn't have maybe had the access or the ability to do before, which I think has been really valuable.
If I can piggyback off of that, Jackie, we've seen that in so many of our emerging artists as well, and their single or album campaigns is, maybe they wouldn't have been able to get the type of opportunities, coverage, or, live stream looks or interest if this wasn't the case, just because there are so many more opportunities like in the same kind of dense space. And so we've seen so many of our emerging artists just getting looks that they probably wouldn't have been able to get before this. And so that's been really interesting too. And same thing within the brand space. It's interesting you say that.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. And I think it does kind of like just fast track it in some ways,
Totally.
which is great for the artists.
Yeah, I think just being part of the indie music community, it has leveled the playing field somewhat in terms of we can get some of these opportunities that might have gone to a major label or bigger artists.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, great. Well, I think we're closing in on 30 minutes right now on this panel. It went so fast, I could talk to you guys all day long with questions. And I want to thank you guys for participating. And I guess just to close it, like maybe if there's like one sentence or word of wisdom that you guys can impart to other marketers out there trying to stay ahead. I can go first if it helps. My word of wisdom would just be like tenacity, stick with it, and you can get things done. Anyone have anything else?
Yeah, I would say kind of repurpose ideas, right? Just see what other artists are doing out there and make it your own. That's what Picasso used to do, Your own. I think sometimes artists get overwhelmed by, well, what's new that I'm going to bring to the table? Mm-hmm. See what other artists are doing, get inspired, and then make it your own.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great. I think mine would be persistence. Just keep on keeping on. It's temporary, and just taking advantage of the opportunities that we have during this time, and really just staying engaged with fans and trying to reach new fans that maybe are sitting at home looking for new music. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think also don't be afraid of the new tools, and because it's such a steep learning curve, but it can be really rewarding. And I think these are tools that will definitely carry into the future, even in a post-COVID world.
All right. Well, thanks again, you guys. This has been an amazing panel. I feel lucky to be part of it with you. And thank you, A2IM, for organizing this.